Howdy, two moms, two kids. Dr. Angelica Hernandez. I wanted to talk about my experience finding a donor and what that looked like because when I was ready to get pregnant, my wife and I, we chose together. I had previously found a donor and had stored the sample with the California Cryobank because I had intended to be a single parent, and that was before I fell in love and wanted to have a family with my current wife. And so I switched the donor to match mostly her and her heritage, which was there's Irish and English, and so we wanted to kind of come as close to a genetic match as her. But what we also put focus on, which was extremely important to me, was there's like a 96-page medical document that goes through maternal, paternal grandparents, uncles, aunts, siblings, and I was just looking for, which may sound like a fantasy, but truly was looking for no traumatic deaths, as such as not only suicide but just car accidents. I just for some reason, my history, a bit of my history from my website, but I just wanted to minimize the trauma, considering that I've had enough trauma in my life, in my childhood, to make up for both of us. So I really was trying to find, someone who had maternal and paternal grandparents that either passed away naturally or died later in life. And I was diligent and really looking for that. Of course, anyone can lie, so I was putting my hope in the fact that this was an honest interview, it was an honest questionnaire. And so, we went through all 96 pages over and over and over and just got a very, very basic, in one way, medical information, education, and then very detailed information from the donor himself, which is what he would talk in an interview about why he was donating. And I truly fell in love with the guy. I thought he was gentle and amazing, and just the way he spoke and just the way the interview went and the fluidity of it and the confidence in which he spoke about sharing his experience. He wanted to give families the life and family that he had. He said that he had a great childhood and he had two amazing sisters, and he just wanted to be able to help other families start a family. And that was enough for me. I really fell for the guy. Of course, I have no idea what his name is. It's an anonymous donor. I know his birth date. I know his genetic information as far as his race, his age, his height, his weight. I even got a personality test that gives kind of details about his character. Also, there is an audio interview, and just the pieces just kind of fit. We also have a photograph, which I printed out as soon as we confirmed this donor, and have had that photograph on my desktop ever since. And the interesting part is I've never told the kids who it is. I just have left it there. And recently, I have a 10-year-old and an 8-year-old. Recently, as 2 weeks ago, they were curious about the donor and asked questions. And I said, well, I have a picture. And they said, you do? And they wanted to know like where I was hiding it. Did I have it in a file somewhere? And I said, no, it's always been there. And they had just assumed that it was my son, Matthias. Even my daughter thought it was her brother. So the similarities in this photograph, which is actually a photograph of the donor, maybe around 6 or 7, looks very much like my son Matthias. The nose is similar, the ears, and there are features that fit both of my children. So that was really shocking and nice, where they felt, wow, I look like him. And I said, yes, that's how it works. And they haven't asked too many questions, but I believe much like, unlike my own family and my mother, that you have to be honest with your kids in all the details, and you just give them as needed or as developmentally appropriate. I wouldn't go into the details of the insemination or the preparation, but I absolutely would talk about how he decided on him and how things went from there and where we got started on this, and just answer questions like that. But for you out there, understanding the procedure is really important. I know that. We found a fertility specialist in Beverly Hills. And we consulted with him, and we talked about what the likelihood was for my getting pregnant. Now, my wife has already had 2 children and was 10 years older, so it was just a given that I would be carrying the children, and I wanted to be pregnant. I really had anticipated pregnancy for all my life, really. I've always wanted to be a mom. So we went ahead and confirmed this doctor, and literally the nurse is the one that did the insemination. And you can stay tuned for another little web series on that, because I can go into details for that. But in preparation, in getting the donor, in securing the samples, we bought maybe 6 or 8 vials of semen and had it stored at the California Cryo Bank. That's who we went with, and we use them as needed. And all you do is you call them and say, hey, I'm ready to pick up the samples to bring to the doctor, and it's all prepared in literally it's nitrogen. It's like a box. It's a nitrogen. It's not you can see anything in there, but you're holding, in my eyes, I was like, oh, this is crazy, and I was driving with extra caution. I think I even put the box with a seatbelt on it, but that's just me. And then that was delivered to the doctor that did the insemination maybe a day or 2 earlier, and they prepared the sample in preparation for my ovulation and my cycle, so that we could try. And if I'm not mistaken, Matthias was on the second attempt. I got pregnant, and then for Maya, a year later, we didn't know how long it was going to take, I got pregnant the first time. So we did do preparation. I did do shots. I did do medication because apparently I have polycystic ovary disease, and that was told to me while I was trying to conceive, and so just gave the doctor extra information of what I needed to do. I did shots of progesterone. I did TSH. I can't remember right now all the details of the medication, but yeah, I just, whatever the doctor said was going to be the best case scenario, that's what we rooted for. And thank you, Jesus. We had 2 healthy, happy children. So that's that. If you have any questions about donor registry or sibling registry, you can definitely contact me below and tell me what your experience was. I'm very interested, because everybody has a story, and why we chose anonymous versus someone we knew or someone that we could reach out to. I just think there were lots of things to consider. It's a huge, huge question, but that's it. All right, 2 moms, 2 kids, Dr. Angelica Hernandez. Adios.